so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you at home for tuning in as we take today's hot topics and weigh them against the Word of God, because we all know God does have a view. And we want to talk a little bit about, you know, when we were kids, our parents taught us right from wrong, and then in school, our teachers taught us right from wrong. 7 kids you have. At what point in time do they stop standing? Did we stop standing for what's right?
When they know they're going to get in trouble, and they know they're going to spanking. You know, it's funny, we learn their behaviors, because I actually have my 4-year-old. If he disappears, we know he's done something.
Okay,
you know?
he hides.
You know, you learn your children, you know, they do different things.
He's Adam. He's Adam. He hides.
He hides. He hides because he hates getting in trouble.
Yeah.
He really hates it. I mean, he'll walk down with his head down, and you know, you already know he's done it. You know?
Well, Lisa, you have so many children. You've experienced this. When they're smaller, they're so transparent. My granddaughter went up with her mom to pay the register. She was about 4 years old, and her mom had her in her arms, and she looked at the lady and she said, "I really love your mustache." And her mom, of course, was just mortified. But Isabel had no clue that she'd done anything wrong. And, you know, so when do they stop?
Honest.
Yeah, they're just so transparent and honest. But, yeah, we got to keep some of that. But, yeah, we got to tone it down a little bit. But
Well, we do need to teach them right from wrong, because we live in a society today where there is no right and wrong just about anymore. And so it seems like the world is upside down, because things that were not acceptable when I was young are totally acceptable now. And it's like, it was wrong then, but it's not wrong now. And if we say that it's wrong, we are pointed out and called haters. And so we have to, you know, we do have to stand up for what's right and wrong. And we do have to tell our children, because we can't, like you said, in school they taught them right from wrong. We can't rely on the teachers. We can't rely on other people to teach our children right from wrong, because they're not.
Once upon a time we could. When we were younger, you know, it has changed, because you know how they say it takes a village to raise a child. And I remember when I was little, you know, I had grandma, uncle, aunt, next door neighbor, lady across the street, teacher, anyone who knew my parents. It would get to my mom before I got home if I did anything. You know, so it's changed. It's a lot different now, you know, than it was before.
I had a 2nd grade teacher. Her name was Miss Peel. I'll never forget her, and she would put the Bible on the front of her desk, and whenever you would turn in a paper, if you put that on top of the Bible, she would say, "Oh no, nothing goes on top of the Bible." And so just in her gentle way, you know, she's teaching us right from wrong. She's teaching us that in this book are the guidelines for life.
Well, and respect. And I was so thankful that our son went to a Christian school, because you're right, it does start at home, and we do, but we also they need to be surrounded. It does take a village. They need to be surrounded with good influences, and so that does matter. And I was so thankful that he had that background and also additional support, because when he went to a public university and he got in a psychology class, and one of his teachers challenged all of them on a subject that was very controversial, and he spoke truth in love. I was very proud of how he, at 21 years old, was able to say, well, this is what I believe, because I believe in God, and I believe this is, you know, biblical truth. And ended up getting F in that class. He graduated on the honor roll. So he graduated with great grades. It had nothing to do, but because he stood up for truth, he paid for it. And sometimes we are going to pay for it. And I was very proud. I said, you know, you'll have to take that class again.
But we don't stop standing. Just because we pay for it.
I said,
that's the thing. We've got to continue.
This is going to happen.
We've got to continue. And it's going to get worse.
That's right. For righteousness. Well, you know, in the situation with Miss Peel, that was a public school. And because she was not able, she didn't have the freedom to pray or to, you know, share the Word of God. That was her way of setting a standard for kids in public school. I'm so thankful for teachers in our public school system who do make a stand for
When I was in public school, we started every morning off with the Lord's Prayer.
Amazing. And look how far
we've gone. And we had a blessing before we ever went to the lunchroom.
Well, we've swung the pendulum, because you talked about a teacher that would, you know, back up a mom and dad, and we could count on the teachers to stand for right and wrong, but we can't count on that anymore. Like, and your son being punished basically for standing up for right, and the teacher may have a different point of view than your child, and the teacher would say, well, I'm right and you're wrong. And so this whole, like I said, it's kind of getting muddied anymore, right and wrong. There's no black or white.
It's even in churches. I think, you know, a lot of pastors have come under a lot of scrutiny and you know, all kind of discrimination, and told you can't say this from the pulpit, you can't come out against any particular, you know, cultural agenda, you know, you'll be fined for it. I mean, things are taken to
turn into sermons in Texas. The mayor, who is homosexual, said if the pastors had to turn in their sermons, because the pastors are standing on truth.
Can they really do that? Can they do that to the churches?
Well, that's a city ordinance, you know.
Working that direction. You know, we talked about it starts at home, and it starts with the parents. And I was reading something not too long ago about an Iowa couple where a little autistic boy was being bullied. And when they interviewed some of the parents of the children who were bullying this autistic child, amazingly, those parents said he kind of deserved it because he's autistic. You know, you can't help these children are going to say things and do things because he's different. So what are we as parents, you know, really teaching, and how are we modeling this?
It's got to start at home.
It has to.
Absolutely. We have to train them. We cannot.
Well,
we
parents
cannot rely
are not
on
at
anybody
home
else.
very much.
That's true.
Most of the time, they're both working and they're in a daycare center, and you just got to pray you've got somebody in the daycare center that's teaching right from wrong.
But you got to take those little teachable
those
moments
few minutes you got in the evening,
the day, and you've got
between laundry and cooking and everything else.
You teach it as you go. Absolutely.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.